Hi everyone, learning grammar is fun. I hope you will enjoy. Our today's lesson is about the past perfect. Let's have fun. Okay everyone, we usually use the past perfect if there are two actions happened in the past. Okay, there is action number 1 and action number 2. The action that happened first, action number 1, we use the past perfect to talk about it. And action number 2, the one that followed number 1, we use the past simple to talk about it. So we use the past perfect symbol for the action happened first and the past symbol for the action that followed if there are two actions happened in the past. For example, when I got there, the museum had closed. Which one happened first? Okay, the museum had closed. This has happened first. Then I got there. This is action number 2. Another example. Yahya had read a book about mythology before he really enjoyed the film about the Minotaur. So the first action again here now action number 1 is reading the book. The second action or action number 2 is enjoying the film. Use number 2. We use it, I mean the past perfect, to talk about something that happened before a specific time in the past. Okay, here we often use the preposition by to mean before or not later than. By 1500, the minions had disappeared. Another example. She had finished her homework by 6 o'clock. Okay, so the sentence means that first she finished her homework, then it became 6 o'clock. Okay, another example, by the age of 4, I had already learned to swim. So I learned to swim before the age of 4. The last example, we had finished our dinner by the time Francis arrived. By the time is a linking word that I use it to join two sentences in the past perfect and the past simple. What is the form of the past perfect? How can I form a sentence in the past perfect? Okay, the past perfect tense in English is composed of two parts. The past tense, had, the past form of have and has, plus the past participle of the main verb. So the form here is had plus past participle. In affirmative sentence, the form is had past participle, subject had past participle, she had finished. The negative sentence will be had not or hadn't plus past participle. She hadn't finished. Yes, no question, starting with the auxiliary verb, subject, and verb. 3 steps to form any yes, no question. Here in the past perfect will be had plus subject plus past participle. So the question will be, had she finished? Again, my students, we use the past perfect to talk about an action that was completed before something else in the past. For example, when we arrived, he had already performed his sketch. So which action was first? Performing, and action number 2, arriving there. When we arrived at the cinema, the film had already started. Here, the word when is a linking word. We use it to join two sentences in the past simple and past perfect. After when, we use usually the past simple. And after that, sentence number 2 is in the past perfect. We can sometimes use the word when in the middle. So the example will be, the film had already started when we arrived at the cinema. The film had already started, past perfect, when we arrived at the cinema. Two actions happened in the past, okay, and we use the past perfect to say which one happened first. Let's emphasize what we have said in this lesson. We are talking about the past perfect, the affirmative form of the past perfect, had plus past participle. For example, she had eaten her lunch by 6 o'clock yesterday. Here we use the past perfect to talk about an action happened in the past before a specific time. The negative form of the past perfect, had not, hadn't, plus past participle. For example, she hadn't eaten her lunch by 6 o'clock yesterday. Yes, no question. 3 steps, had, auxiliary verb, plus subject, plus past participle. So the question will be, had she eaten her lunch by 6 o'clock yesterday? The answer will be, yes, she had, or no, she hadn't. WH word, the question. WH word, had, subject, past participle. So the question will be, what had she done by 6 o'clock yesterday? The answer will be, she had eaten her lunch. There are some key words for the past perfect. We usually use them to join 2 sentences. One sentence in the past simple, action number 2, and one sentence in the past perfect, action number 1. The key words here are the word after and as soon as. Both of these words we use past perfect, after, as soon as, past perfect, had plus past participle, comma, past simple, one verb plus ed or a regular verb. We can also use them in the middle, so the rule will be past simple, verb plus ed or a regular one, after, as soon as, and past perfect, had plus past participle. Another 2 key words of the past perfect are before, by the time, and also the word when. Before, by the time, after them, we use the sentence in the past simple, one verb plus ed, did, or a regular one, comma, and a sentence in the past perfect, had plus past participle. We here also can use the word before, by the time, and when in the middle. So the sentence will be past perfect at the very beginning, had plus past participle, before, by the time, or when in the middle, and after that a sentence in the past simple. Some examples. Number 1, after I had eaten dinner, comma, I went to bed. Or I can say, I went to bed after I had eaten dinner. I can put the word after in between, in the middle. The phone rang as soon as, or after I had walked in the room. Or I can say, as soon as I had walked in the room, comma, the phone rang. Example number 2. Before I went to school, I had had my breakfast. Or I can say, I had had my breakfast before I went to school in the middle. By the time we arrived at the stadium, the match had started. Or the match had started by the time we arrived at the stadium. By the time Tony came back home, we had gone to bed. Or we had gone to bed by the time Tony came back home. Number 3 here, I want to tell you that we can sometimes use the word just and already, okay, with the past perfect. For example, Tamara had already, you know that we use the word already between the had or have and has in the present perfect and the past participle. So the example here will be Tamara had already gone to bed when her mobile phone rang. Or I had just washed. We also use the word just between had and the past participle, as we use it between has and have and the past participle in the present perfect. The example will be I had just washed the car when it started to rain. Now let's answer some questions together. Question number 1, I want you to put the given verbs into the correct tense, according to the rule, of course. Here we have after, okay, after past perfect, after past perfect. You know that letter A is the first letter in English alphabet, so we will put the action in the past perfect, because we use the past perfect to talk about the first action. So first letter, first action. First letter, first action. Okay? After we had chatted. After we had chatted for a little time, comma, we played past simple. We played chess. Number 2, I hurried to see my friend as soon as I hear the news. Here we have the word as soon as in the middle. Again, as soon as the word after start with the letter A, the first letter in English alphabet, and after these 2 words, after and as soon as, we put the first action. First letter, first action in the past perfect. Okay, so here we will say I hurried, past simple. I hurried, okay, H-U-R-R-I-E-D, because it ends with letter Y and there is a consonant before. To see my friend, I hurried, past simple, to see my friend, as soon as I had heard the news. As soon as I had heard the news. Number 3, when we arrive, the train leave. After when, past simple. After when, past simple. Okay, so here, when we arrived. When we arrived, comma, the train, past perfect, had already left. Had already left. Okay, number 4, by the time the police arrive, the thief disappear. By the time, B, letters number 2 in the English alphabet. Okay, so it will take action number 2. The sentence will be, by the time the police arrived, past simple, comma, the thief had disappeared. The thief had disappeared. Number 5, the airplane landed before the storm began. Here we have the word before in the middle. Before, B, second letter, second action. Excellent. So the answer will be the airplane had landed before the storm began. Past simple. By the age of 10. By the age of 10, a specific time in the past, and I need to say that this action, James won a lot of medals, happened before this specific time in the past. So I have to use here the past perfect. The answer will be, by the age of 10, James had won. James had won a lot of medals. Number 7, I give my wife the present which I buy for her. What do you think happened first? Buying the present or giving it to the wife? Of course, you have to buy it first. So here the verb buy will be in the past perfect, action number 1. And giving his wife the present will be action number 2 in the past simple. So the answer will be, I gave my wife the present which I had bought for her. Had bought for her. Here we have the rewrite question. Number 1, before she did the washing up, she had set the table. We use the word before and by the time to join two sentences in the past simple and past perfect. Okay? Here I want you to use the word after with a small letter, which means that you have to put the word in the middle. Let's remind you that after letter A, first action, past perfect, okay? And before, after, the sentence will be in the past simple. So the answer will be, she did the washing up. She did the washing up, okay? In the past simple. After she had set, past perfect, the table. She did the washing up after she had set the table. Number 2, first, action number 1, I finished my work. Then, action number 2, I went to the club. Here I want you to use the word by the time. Again, by the time. Letter B. Second letter, second action. Action in the past simple. And you have to start with this word because you have here capital letter. So the answer will be by the time I went to the club, action number 2 in the past simple. By the time I went to the club, comma, I had finished my work. I had finished my work. By the time I went to the club, comma, I had finished my work. Number 3, I had bought a book. I took it home as soon as. Of course, as soon as, start with letter A, first letter, first action in the past perfect. And you have to start with as soon as. So the answer will be, as soon as I had bought a book, comma, I took it home. As soon as I had bought a book, comma, I took it home. Number 4, after he had won the competition, he received a silver cup. Here I want you to use the word before instead of after. So you have to exchange the sentences. So the answer will be, before he received a silver cup, past simple, comma, he had won the competition. Before he received a silver cup, comma, he had won the competition. Number 5, as soon as I had reached the office, I called my wife. Here I want you to use the word when at the very beginning because it has capital letter. And of course, what will you do again? You will exchange the sentences. So the answer will be, when I called my wife, past simple, comma, I had reached the office. I had reached the office. Number 6, I didn't recognize Ted. He had changed a lot. Use the word because. Of course, you know that after the word because, we put the reason, and before the word because we put the result. Which happened first, the reason or the result? Of course, the reason. So the reason here, the sentence after because, will be in the past perfect. And the result, the sentence before because, will be in the past simple. So the sentence will be, I didn't recognize Ted because he had changed a lot. I didn't recognize Ted because he had changed a lot. Now, my students, I hope that you can do your homework and you can check it after that. I hope you enjoyed our lesson today, and remember that the more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you. Have fun. Bye.